Welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dylann Crush, and I am here tonight with Dawn Luedecke over there, my co-hostess, and we have two amazing romance authors, Breanna Lynn and Jennifer J. Williams, who are with us tonight. We're super excited to have you with us. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Dawn, what have you been up to since we last saw you? Before we get into the readings and stuff, update us.
Yeah, so I have two books up for pre-order right now. I have been
Ooh.
writing and actually doing stuff. I'm like so excited
Yay.
about that. Yeah, so excited. Welcome to Oak Valley is an anthology with me and a couple of other authors. It is available for pre-order now. And then my subsequent book from that, Romance in Oak Valley, is also up for pre-order. Romance in Oak Valley will be released October 22nd, and Welcome to Oak Valley is November 15th, if I can.
All right.
So
Awesome.
I've been working.
Good. It's nice. Dawn has been working spending more time working at her job than she has been working at writing lately, and it's been a bummer. So
Yeah, and it's been frustrating.
more.
And I'm
What's
ready
that?
to it's been frustrating and a bummer, and I'm ready to just get back to my therapy because writing to me is therapy. I don't know about you guys, but if I don't get
Sometimes.
words, like I get less anxious when I'm writing words on pages. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yep.
What about you, Dylan?
I am holding on to summer, as you can see by my backdrop that I put up tonight. I don't know, all of a sudden it like hit me. My kids are going back to school, well, college. I'll have two leaving for college next week.
Wow.
I know. And then it just hit me like I'm only going to have the boy at home. And that's going to be weird because he doesn't really hardly ever talk to me. And so I've been putting a lot of pressure on him and saying that, with his siblings gone, he's going to have to be my source of conversation and stuff. And he's not, I don't feel it's going to be an adjustment for all of us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that happens next week. So they're both leaving next week.
Yeah, we just started my daughter is she decided to kind of take a break first before school. So she's working, and then so no college for us, but my two just started yesterday back to school, my two youngest ones.
On a Wednesday?
On a Wednesday, right?
Oh,
All of the
okay.
schools here start on a Wednesday. So they have like these 3 days of school, and then they have the whole week off next week because it's the county fair.
Oh, well,
It's the county fair.
When you live in Montana.
It's the county fair, and all the kids are involved in the county fair. So they just take the week off. I'm like,
I guess that's how it
start us
goes.
in September and add 3 days in June. I'm just saying.
How about both of you? Do you have kids that are headed back to school, or?
I'm pretty sure all of our kids, since we live near each other, they've been back in school for actually a few weeks now.
Wow.
So yeah, this is their third week for my district.
I think
when
so,
do they
yeah.
get out?
Just before Memorial Day.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have lots of breaks during the year?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Too long of breaks during the year.
Okay.
Yes. My district gets a week in October, a week in November, then 2 to 3 weeks at Christmas, a week in February, a week in March.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes it hard to work around them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Well, it is good in the sense of like when my kids really need a break, they get a full week to kind of recharge, and I get to turn the alarms off for a week, which is the best thing ever. So that's nice.
Well, I have a husband who goes to work at the same time the kids go to school, and he doesn't get those days off. So I'm still getting up to give him breakfast, and I might
Aren't
have
you
to
sweet?
I'm
like,
nice.
husband.
Okay, he needs to hear this episode because he doesn't think I'm that sweet. Because I'm always like, I hate you. Stop talking to me. Oh, turn the coffee on. I'm not a morning person at all. Until
my husband isn't a breakfast eater, but if he was, I always make sure we have plenty of protein bars, and there you go, honey.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll go out there and I'll make his lunch for work, and then I'll just set a protein shake in front of it, and I'm like a
Mhm,
shake, not even a bar. So you're nice. Sometimes I'll put a
mhm.
shake there, but sometimes I'll make him eggs.
Well,
So
we should talk about books tonight.
we should, yeah.
We should. All right. Instead of going back to
Husbands.
school and lunches and all that, we should be talking about books. So, Breanna, you are going to read for us first tonight. Can you tell us a little bit about you, what you write, and anything else you want to share?
Sure. So for those that don't know me, my name is Breanna Lynn. I am a semi-contemporary romance author. Primarily do a lot of rock star romances. That's my whole first series. Just started delving into romantic suspense and also small towns. Been writing now officially about 4 years. So I started during the pandemic when I had a lot more free time on my hands. And other than that, I still have a day job. I work in HR during the day and then spend most of my evenings running around after my 4 kids, the boyfriend, or any one of the 5 animals we have running around the house at any given time. So lots of fun. It's very busy here.
That's a lot. And did I read on your bio that you have 2 sets of twins?
I do. I have 2 sets of twins that are 17 months apart. My daughters
wow.
are 15 and a half, and my sons turned 14 over the summer. So they are now getting closer and closer to driving age, as I was reminded today.
I don't know how you even know your own name. I
I
mean,
mean, I have 4 kids, but they are sparse out. Are those the only kids you have? Do you have more?
So I have a stepson who is
Okay.
25,
Okay.
and then I have another stepson who is 11. So yeah.
Oh, okay. So
wow.
Yeah.
I can't comment because I only have 4. They're sparsed
Mhm.
out. I cannot
Mhm.
imagine like twins though, like twins 17 months apart.
That's
It's
Because
fun.
yeah.
it's
That
like
that's a lot.
it's almost Irish twins times 2, and that's crazy. It's
Mhm.
almost.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. I mean, I'm just in awe that you're still number 1 alive,
Yeah.
and coherent, and that you work full time and also somehow write books.
Yeah.
So, wow.
It was a whole lot easier during the pandemic, I will say that. I
Mhm.
Once we finally got out of that and went back to work full time in the office, it's a lot different now, but
Yeah,
it's
I
what I love
think
to do.
during the pandemic, I think some things were easier and some things were harder. Like you didn't have to go
Mhm.
Yeah.
anywhere. But then also, I mean, my kids were older, so my youngest at that point in time would have been like 11, and I mean, it was amazing how much he couldn't do for himself. So I
Yeah.
was, extremely still very involved in everything. So I felt like, I was actually busier or didn't have as much time to write, even though we were all home the whole time. But yeah, not
I
amazing.
so Deanna's coming in with some questions before we even get started, but they're kind of more personal questions. So I'm going to pop those up here real quick. Sorry, ladies. Um,
Nope.
Really quick. How many school terms do we have in America? We have 4 in Australia. So like quarters? Is that what she means?
Yeah, and we've got
Yeah,
4
4
quarters.
quarters.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah,
got
we
4
have 4
quarters.
quarters, but we typically, well, it depends because typically school districts have a summer break, but then there are some, like I know in California, some of my cousins, they went, like they had like 3 weeks in between. So they went to school year round, but then they would have like 3 weeks off in between quarters or
Mhm.
whatever. So I
Mhm.
think it just depends on how they space it.
I can say that my husband was in the military and we actually lived in England. And I taught in a British primary school over there. They have 3 terms, and there was a break in between each term and then a long break at the summer. But
Hmm.
I would say that her question about terms possibly is closer related to the English terms because, so I would say in America, we kind of have like 2 because for high schoolers, they're
Oh,
more
like
likely to change classes at the
semesters.
half,
Mm.
Uh-huh.
so
Yeah.
that's more of what I would consider to be
A
comparable to a
term
term.
would be a semester. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, what military branch was your husband in?
He was in the Air Force.
Oh, okay. My husband's retired Coastie. I'm prior Coast Guard myself. So
Oh, okay.
my
Yeah, he's
son's
retired
Marine.
now. So
Oh, good. Yeah, that's
Yes.
the best. That's the best when they become civilians.
Well, and
Um,
Jennifer, why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what
Yeah.
you write?
Okay. Hi, I'm
We
Jennifer.
already know about your husband now, so why don't you tell us a little bit about you?
You didn't know about me, just know about my husband. It's fine. I also write steamy contemporary. My focus is on small town and sports. And I have my 9th book releasing tomorrow. And I've been writing for just shy of 2 years.
Congratulations.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is there
And
any
Dylann and I
particular
obviously know each other.
well, yes, you told us that before we came on that you
Yeah.
didn't intentionally pick to come on the show on the same day. It just worked out. And that's so funny. So
Yes, we joked that we should have gotten together and we could have
Right.
done it together.
mhm. Yep. That would have been awesome. What sport? Any sport in particular, or are you kind of all over the board?
So far, I have written a couple of hockey pieces, but I am starting a new series coming out in 2025 that will be a variety of sports stars that are all kind of in the same friend group that are in Denver. So
Okay.
that's kind of what I want to do because I don't want to I don't want to focus solely on hockey because my favorite sports are other sports other than hockey. So I would like to,
Really?
get a little
Yep.
like I love football. I love football. So I'm really looking
Mhm.
forward to having a football book and maybe a soccer book or a baseball book or something that will have a variety. So it's not
Mhm.
just hockey. Plus I write older characters. I don't write a lot of characters in their 20s, and hockey
Mhm.
tends to be all in their 20s.
Mm.
So I want to write, an aging quarterback that is struggling to, stick with the youngins and things like that. So that's what I would
There
like to write.
there are quite
Love
a few
that.
hockey players in their 30s.
Yeah.
And some of them, I mean, I don't know. My husband is a big Washington Capitals fan, and so I know Ovechkin is like really getting up there.
Oh
But
yeah, he is. He is
yep.
old.
But yeah,
Say it like that, but he is old.
but yeah,
For
I
hockey
think it's maybe
standards.
not as common as some of the
Yeah.
other sports. So
Yeah.
how
I
fun would that be, though?
personally go ahead. Sorry,
I was
Janine.
just gonna say, how fun would that be to have, this group and they're all friends and they all happen to be like, these elite athletes who are at the top of their game. And how fun would that be to, I don't know, go out to dinner with that bunch of guys?
Mm.
Yeah, I know. These poor women that I'm going to write, these fictional women, have such horrible lives to
Mhm.
go out with all
I
these sports stars.
I personally love hockey a lot. Like that's the only sport I can actually sit down and watch because I get really excited when they start punching each other. I just got to be honest. But I'm really not into boxing because that's just too much punching. There's just like
There's a happy
a
medium.
really happy
Mhm.
medium with hockey. But my son
You
did
like
just
violence, but not
I
a lot
do.
of violence.
Yeah. I don't like seeing their blood, but I mean, yeah. But my son did just start football, so I think I'm gonna have to start becoming a football fan, even though I've not ever been one. But okay, so we did have a couple other personal questions, or maybe one personal question, and this one's for Brianna. Sorry, I'm just gonna pop that up there. Were the twins come by naturally?
You know what,
Uh,
John? I don't know. I feel like
What?
that's like very
Oh,
personal.
I didn't know that was.
I mean,
yeah,
feel free to answer if you want to, Brianna, but
yeah. No, I'm happy to
not.
answer. I had a really wonderful is probably I had a very unique experience. We tried for about 5 years to get pregnant. After we were married, it didn't have any luck by ourselves, so I did do IVF to have the girls. I had the two of them. They were 24-week preemies. So they were
Oh,
born at a pound 4 and 14.5 ounces. And 11 months later, I found out I was naturally pregnant with a set of identical twin boys.
must have been amazing, though. I mean, having the struggle and then just having
Yeah,
the
yeah.
twins, the other twins. That's great.
It's it's fun to watch. It's really unique to see what identical twins do versus fraternal twins, and watching them kind of all be this unit, and they all move to things at the same time. So when they all start to leave the nest, I'm really going to be an empty nester. It will go
Oh
from
my
0 to
gosh.
60 or 60 to 0 in a hurry.
All at
Yeah.
once. That will be,
Yeah.
yeah, that will be
So
a huge change for you.
yeah. And then I noticed on your bio you said you were a massive Jane Austen fan.
I love Jane Austen. I went to school. I was going to be a high school English teacher once upon a time, and absolutely fell in love. Like Pride and Prejudice, obviously. Like that's, I think, everybody's entrance into Jane Austen. But I've read almost everything. I have not read Northanger Abbey yet. It's still on my TBR. At some point, I want to get back and read it. But everything else I've read, a coworker and I were just talking about this today. The Pride and Prejudice BBC version with Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy is an annual rewatch in my house.
Yeah.
So everybody else like disappears, and it's mom's time with the TV.
Yes.
Mhm.
And did you and I haven't read Sendition yet, but did you get to I watched the show. Have you read that one, Sendition?
I have not, huh?
No, I haven't either. So I'm curious because I watched the show and it was like finished by somebody else, and I'm curious to see if I can tell where she ends, because I'm a huge Jane Austen fan. I have what's your favorite book, Jane Austen book?
I really liked Mansfield Park.
Mm.
It's a little more snarky than Pride and Prejudice. Like you still get those same tones, but it just feels a little more pointed. Like Pride and Prejudice was kind of like that. Oh, I'm still nice. I'm still semi fluffy, and you don't get that in Mansfield Park. It's very in your face.
Yeah. Mine is Persuasion.
Okay.
My husband was a sailor, so I think that's probably
yeah.
why. But I have actually, my husband and I have tattoos. So he says, "You pierce my soul. I am half agony, half hope," on his chest, and then I have on my ankle. I have love none but you. So it's not all of the quote, but it's like bits and pieces of the letter.
That's
And so,
awesome.
yeah. So I was like so excited. I'm like, oh my God, this could be such a fun show. She's a Jane Austen fan too.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. But that being said, Dylan, we're at, we have to get reading.
We do. Well, we're going to get listening. Breanna is going to get reading.
Yes. Yes.
So Breanna, you are up first, and
okay.
You want to tell us a little bit about what book you're reading from? If you've got a copy of it, feel free to show us the cover. We love to see yummy covers. Ooh.
Yes. So this is book 1 in the Safe Haven Security series. This is my romantic suspense series. So my next book that comes out in September is book 2.
Okay.
So this is all about romantic suspense, former military hero, forced proximity, and has some of that rock star undertone because she is a rock star hopeful, and kind of gets those dreams dashed.
All right. And are you starting at chapter 1, or do you need to give us a little bit of a setup?
I am starting at chapter 1. There is a prologue. The prologue, it can be skipped. There is a trigger warning for the prologue, but it's a little bit of her life and what she is running away from. But chapter 1 is 2 years after she is running away from her history.
Okay. Well, we will leave you to it, and we'll be back when you're done.
All right. Sounds good. The baby's belly laugh carries across the reception room and tugs at my ovaries. Or maybe it's the brawny man inspiring the sound. When my boss, Mia, insisted I tag along to her best friend Michaela's wedding after filming Wrapped, I should have declined. I should have gone home. But I didn't want to give up the chance to ogle Michaela's older brother Sawyer, even if it's from a distance. Because as much as I love to admire him, he knows too much about me, about my past. Deep blue eyes meet mine and warmth floods my cheeks. I've been caught staring. I glance away from Sawyer and his nephew quickly, focusing instead on the couple swaying on the dance floor. Michaela and her husband, West, are there, and so are Mia and her husband, Garrett. 7 years ago, I dreamed of being part of one of those kinds of couples, happy, in love. I'd be famous with a handful of chart-topping albums, and my husband would be supportive and kind. But reality crushed that dream and stomped on it for good measure. Stop wishing for something that will never happen. Standing, I grab my small purse and turn my back on the vision, then make my way quickly to the restroom. 2 years ago, after I ran away from Brad, I made the decision. I can't let anyone get close enough to ask questions. Because there would be questions, ones I had no desire to answer. At least now, when I look in the mirror, I see a little of myself in the nondescript brown hair and the baggier clothes. I'm content with being Mia's assistant. She's my friend. And when I'm not at her house or on location with her, I'm at home in my cheerful apartment. I don't venture out except for errands and the occasional trip to a coffee shop she and I found. My life is predictable. I've curated it that way, except when Sawyer is close. No, I tell my reflection, there are no feelings there. There can't be. Taking a deep breath, I wash my hands and stand a little straighter. I'll find Mia and let her know I'm headed back to my room. Only the first person I see when I open the bathroom door is the one person I was hoping to avoid, Sawyer King. Looking sexier than he should in the remnants of his tuxedo, dress pants, white shirt with the top button undone, and a loose bow tie. Well, what are you doing here? I swallow to steal the tremor in my voice. Looking for you. Oh, I breathe out, caught off guard. Immediately, fear settles in my stomach. I don't want to talk about my history, especially here. And there's no other reason he'd want to talk to me. Why? I croak out. Mia asked me to come find you and let you know she and Garrett are headed back to their room. I barely hold back a groan. Of course, my matchmaking boss could ask the hunky single guy to deliver her message. She could have texted me since my phone is in my bag, but her tactics no longer surprise me. She tried to set me up with Garrett before she realized she was in love with him. I am not interested in dating. It may be time to remind her of that, even if she doesn't understand why. Thank you for letting me know. I turn and head for the exit, shuffling as quickly as I can in heels. You're going to need a ride back to your hotel. I freeze and spin around. He knows where I'm staying? How? I know where everyone is staying. Curse the job. He shrugs like that explains it all. I guess it should, given that he owns a security company. Can I give you a lift, he asks. My choices are to walk back to the hotel in the dark, grab an Uber or Lyft, driven by a stranger, of course. Are there even rideshare options available here? Or confine myself in a small space with the only man I found attractive in years? Dang it. Is there really a choice? Okay. Are you ready? His question is a murmur as he steps closer. Why does that low timbre of his voice affect me the way it does? Yes. He reaches out to guide me toward the exit, and I shift out of the way. His hand drops and he puts some additional distance between us. My car is this way. The leather and vanilla scent that clings to him is even stronger in the small space of his rental as he pulls out of the parking lot. The hum of the road is the only sound. No small talk and no radio. I brace myself for his questions, dreading the moment he brings up my past. Only he doesn't. He drives the car like he does everything else, confidently. With his left hand, he grips the steering wheel easily, while his right arm is propped on the console between us. He doesn't take his eyes off the road, and he doesn't try to fill the silence, like he's content to ride in absolute quiet. I envy that quiet confidence, that assuredness of who he is and the space he inhabits. Meanwhile, I'm constantly fixated on where I am and who I'm with. Like right now, I've got my attention trained on what's ahead, but when the fingers on his right hand stretch forward, I can feel them, and he's not even touching me. This desire to be closer buffets me like waves crashing on the shore. The hotel isn't far from the venue, but for my sanity, the ride can't be over soon enough. Thank you, I tell him as we pull into the hotel's lot, my fingers already gripping the door handle. Can I walk you to your room? A small part of me knows I should decline, but the bigger part wins before I can harness my response. Okay. Why did you do that? Though I hate to admit it, his presence calms all the anxiety that normally filters through my blood. I'm attracted to him, but there's something more. Something I'm afraid to think about too much, but loath to distance myself from, the way I normally would. Without giving me time to rescind my response, he rounds the car, each of his strides precise and purposeful, and opens my door. Inside, the lobby lights are dim, and the sound of a TV comes from the office, but we're alone as we make our way to the elevator. The silence continues as I press the button for the third floor. The chime sounds, and then the elevator is open to the empty floor. I don't look at him again until I'm in front of my door and have swiped my key and gripped the handle. All the lights I left on still blaze brightly, and I breathe a sigh of relief. I don't like the dark. Thank you. I meet his gaze and quickly drop my focus to the shiny button near his throat. You're welcome. Good night, Sawyer. I take a step back to retreat to my room. Evie, the way he says my name, like he can't help himself, pulls my attention back to his face. Only this time I can't look away. The deep blue of his irises is magnetic, the color like light filtering through the ocean. And just like the ocean, I could so easily drown in them. Evie, this time my name is a whisper on his lips. He lifts his index finger and drags it along my jaw. For the first time in years, I don't pull away from the physical contact. I can't. I want that light touch too much. You looked beautiful today, he murmurs. Mia begged me to let her pick my dress so it's more fitted than usual, but still loose around my curves. I did? Thank you. It's hard to get the words out. My lips tingle with curiosity, almost silencing them. What would it be like to kiss Sawyer? I've kissed guys before Brad, high school boys who had no idea what they were doing. But something tells me Sawyer knows exactly what to do. We've gone silent again, and his finger continues to drag back and forth along my jaw. The sensation is hypnotic, sending that question, what would it be like to kiss a man like Sawyer, pulsing through my body until all of the anxiety is gone. All of the walls I've kept in place are down, just once. Standing on my tiptoes, I cup the back of his neck and tug him down until our lips meet. He sucks in a surprised breath, but it doesn't take him long to take masterful control of the kiss. It's a slow slide of his mouth over mine, small kisses pressed from one side to the other. Then he settles them fully into place. He licks along the seam, requesting entry, and I open for his tongue to tingle with mine. Cupping my face, he brushes his thumb over my cheekbone, as if I'm the most precious thing in his universe. My fingers flex against his shoulders. I want more than anything to take this further, to be worthy of him, to leave my past behind and stay lost in his kiss. I allow myself one more heartbeat, then I break the kiss. His eyes flutter open, and the desire in them is nearly crippling. I step back again, shivering at the cool air that rushes between us. Evie, the desire in his eyes turns to confusion, and a frown mars his handsome face. Good night, Sawyer. I retreat fully and close the door quickly. Good night. His voice is clear on the other side of the door. Lifting my fingers to my swollen lips, I try to memorize the way his mouth felt pressed against mine. The closest thing to normal I'll ever allow myself to have. Because Brad is still out there, and my baggage is heavy. I'd never allow myself to burden someone else with it. I may dream about that shared kiss with Sawyer, but my reality is haunted by a very real boogeyman.
Sorry, just unmuting everybody. Wow. Way to leave us on a little bit of a cliffhanger there.
Perfect.
Very much enjoyed that. So is this a little bit of romantic suspense then?
It is romantic suspense, okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I wasn't sure because you'd said that you'd written like contemporary and small town and romantic suspense. So I was assuming that this one had a little bit of that suspense in it. So nicely done.
Thank you.
Well, we do have Karen here. So and Deanna. So
that means we have lots of questions.
Yeah. I'm actually going to start with Deanna's because this is a question that I have grown to love, and apparently Deanna has too. Wait. Where'd it go? Oh my gosh. Okay. Also, apparently my computer's like took about 10 minutes to process here. So let me find it. Here we go. Okay. Describe your life in book tropes.
Oh gosh.
You can do love life, you know, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Probably two that come to mind are single mom and later in life romance.
Oh. Nice.
Nicely done. How about you, Jennifer?
This isn't my section. You're not supposed to ask me the question.
Yeah, we ask you both.
Oh no, it's you're on here. It's fair game.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say grumpy sunshine.
Who's the grumpy?
Depends on the day, but mostly my husband. Mostly him. Yes, he is more grump than I am. Although I'm in a writing group with a bunch of other authors, and one of them will DM me on occasion, and literally it will just say, "Fix your face," because I have RBF like hardcore.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
so like I'll just be sitting there and she'll be like, you look really ticked off. And I'm like, okay, sorry. I'm
Fix
not
your
thinking,
face.
yeah. So I can't zoom in that. So it really depends on the day on who's the grumpy sunshine. So I would think that would be the biggest trope. And I don't know if there's any other ones. Like, I've been married. We're about to celebrate 20 years together. So
Aw.
Perfect.
yeah. So
Congrats.
I don't have any of the fun ones like single mom, single dad, and any of those things. So
Well, depending on who you ask, they might not think that's so much fun. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's understandable.
My
Yep.
daughter has RBF so bad that she was at a job interview for customer service, and they said, "Can you smile though?" And she's like, "Oh yes, I have a customer service face. Hello." You know, she like had to demonstrate her customer service face, and they're like, "Oh, perfect." And then they said, "Because you kind of have RBF going on." At a job interview. I'm like, "Well, I'm glad you got that job, dear." But
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
I love that.
Yeah,
love those
I
tropes.
look like I'm much meaner than I am. I am not a mean person at all, but I look mean. It's just the way my face is.
Well, that's my husband too. Like everybody, all of our viewers know my husband from when he used to come on here, but everybody like a guy gave him a gift. He'd probably kill me if this guy ever watched the show, which I don't know why he would, but a guy gave him a gift card today because he like said something to him about his parking at work, and my husband like corrected his parking, and then he apologized with a gift card to like a beer company. So, I think he just looks really mean. Like,
What was wrong with the parking?
well, they didn't want you to park your hitch over the sidewalk,
Oh,
and
okay.
his hitch was over the sidewalk, so the guy corrected him.
Gotcha.
So he corrected
Gotcha.
his truck, and he must have looked just RBF the crap out of that. Because then the guy gave him a gift card to apologize for correcting his parking job. I don't
Gotcha,
know,
gotcha, gotcha.
something like that. Like,
Okay.
so,
Well,
That's
he's
actually
really
amazing.
he used to be like a basic training instructor or something, wasn't
yeah,
he?
he
And
was. Yeah, he was a
used to
drill
be the
Oh
guy that
gosh.
instructor.
yelled at everybody. So yeah, I
Yeah,
can understand why
So
he
he's got
is.
that look down.
he does.
Mhm.
And that might be, Karen, why he doesn't want to come on here, because he does have that RBF thing going on. And now he's a beard to top it off. So he just kind of looks like a mountain man, like one of Dylan's mountain men. And, I don't know. With permanent RBF. But let's get on to more questions. We got a ton.
Yes, please. Let's.
We're gonna rewind here to
Yeah, there are a bunch of them.
okay. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Karen, what is your spice level?
So for me, if we're talking like chili peppers, like the 5 chili pepper scale, I feel like that's fairly basic. Mine are like 3.5, maybe.
Yeah, that's good. That's kind of where mine is. What about yours, Jennifer?
For me, it's kind of book specific. I don't know if y'all have the same situation. I swear I must have periods of time. Again, probably some hormones, but there are times where I write more spice. And so this book that's coming out tomorrow is not. It's my least spicy book, but then there's some that I actually took spice out of before I released it because it was a little too much for small town fans. So I would say mine are about a 3 to 3.5 as well.
Yeah.
So, but it's so subjective. Spice is so
It is.
subjective.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. How, initially when you first start writing and you write something steamy and you think it's so steamy. But I feel like yeah, it's shifted. And
Yeah.
so what we used to think was maybe like a 4 is now, like a 2.5 or something because things just get hotter and hotter. But
Yeah.
it is subjective.
And I like this last book signing I did. It was with a bunch of non-romance authors. And so when I was talking to them, and they're like, "Oh," this one guy comes over and he's talking about my book covers. He's like, "I talked about romance novels in my book, and this is the exactly what I said in my book with bare chest and all that." And I'm like, "Well, my book covers it's all about my spice level." So I explained, like, you can tell from this book cover that it's like a sweet pepper. You can tell by this one that it's more like a jalapeno. And and I talked about the spice level, and they were confused. They were like, "Oh, that's spice level. That's great. That like I can't believe you did that analogy." I'm thinking, "Oh, that's a regular analogy for every romance offer. Their spice level."
Mm-hmm.
But for non-romance people, I guess it's like an odd
It's a learning
thing.
curve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's a good one from Karen too. We do, what's your favorite social media platform? And we usually say this at the end, but this is a perfect segue here. So where do you guys like to be at? Where do you like to hang out?
Okay,
Go
I'll go
ahead,
first.
Jennifer.
Anybody?
Yes.
Anybody?
Looking at me.
I'm looking at you.
I personally love TikTok. I can go down a rabbit hole with the most random videos on TikTok. So
Mhm.
I love to be on there. But I am on pretty much everything. I'm on Instagram, Threads, Facebook. So
Mhm.
you can find me anywhere, but my personal favorite is TikTok, because where else can you get political news, learn a recipe, watch a weird video, like a pimple popping video, and then
Ugh.
get
Oh, those are,
refreshed?
yeah,
You
I
know,
can't watch
like
those.
you can do all these things, and I love that. So I love TikTok.
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I wish I was on TikTok more. I am not. I have someone who posts for me on TikTok because I'm like, nah, I don't know how to run this platform. More often than not, I'm on Facebook, and a lot of times I am in my group on Facebook. Um, Otherwise, like Jennifer, I have, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Threads. Threads, I swear, is like the darker side of like the book world, because you go on there and you see all kinds of stuff, and it's like, wow, I did not know everybody felt this way. So it's like the behind the scenes look at what Instagram is a little bit. So I will get lost on Threads.
Mhm.
Mm.
I've just barely dabbled on Threads. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like it seems like there's lots of drama on Threads, but
Mhm.
it's maybe not like drama. It's trying to explain the drama or expose the drama, or it's drama about the drama. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
Okay. But yeah, I haven't spent too much time on there. But yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll do one more, and then we need, well,
Okay.
actually, should we do one more? Yeah, let's do one more. We'll
Yeah, one or
make
two
it
more.
quick. Yeah. Have you ever changed the name of a main character after beginning a story?
I
No?
don't
Uh,
think I have.
Okay.
I don't think I have. I've had to change last names because I have this annoying tendency to use the same names over and over again. So my editor she just will leave a comment and go, "Okay, you did it again," and she'll just leave it at that, and then I have to go figure out where I did it. But yeah, I don't think I've changed the first name. I've had to do last names though.
Mhm. Isn't that
Yeah.
funny how we tend to gravitate toward
Certain
certain
things.
names? And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For
I
the
found I
whole.
gravitate towards names with T's too. I don't understand what
Hmm.
that's about, but I have a
Okay.
lot of T names in my books, so
Hmm.
it's
Interesting.
very odd.
Mhm.
I used to love names that were alliterative. So, like
Mm.
Angel Adams, or, just to
It's
think of one,
catchy.
right?
Yeah.
It is.
Mhm.
And I had a friend point out, and she goes, "You need to go away from that." And I'm like, "What? Why? Why are you going to take my alliterative names away from me?"
I
That's so
wonder how
My
many
funny.
readers
gosh.
would catch up on that, though. Like, would catch on that.
I have to wonder, but I did what she said. I have changed it, and I'm always like super cautious with it now. So I rely
You're
on her to keep it real.
Wouldn't
you're
that be
not like,
fun though if that was like an Easter egg for your readers? Like in each book,
yeah.
you had, started with A and worked your way all the way through the alphabet.
Oh, wow.
And
You had
then
the
once you
alphabet
get through the
Adams,
yeah. And then once you
and
get through the
then you had,
alphabet,
like a, I don't know, Benjamin Button. I think you couldn't use that because that one was taken, but and then you had like a, I don't know,
Cornell.
yeah.
Christopherson. Yeah, and you went all the way through the
Yeah.
alphabet down to like Zachary, I don't know, Zachary Zingle or something, and then you could start over.
But you don't start over, then you go AB, like Adam Branson. And then like, yeah, I don't know. Anyways.
People would catch on to
That could
that.
be fun. That could be fun.
I would mess that up so many times. Like, I'm just going to keep it real. That is not for me. That is not the task for me at all.
Oh,
I'd end up naming the dog something like with the name or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So one more, and then we need to hear from Jennifer. What advice do you have for new authors? Just anything.
I would say write your story.
Get a beta team. That would be mine. Get a team that it can start out as just one person to give you and know that you have to have somebody that you trust, that also trusts you, that you can be honest with, that they aren't going to feel like they hurt your feelings if they tell you that something is bad or that the whole story needs to be changed or whatever. Have somebody that you trust so that you can make the story better.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, great advice. Let's move on and have Jennifer. You're going to read for us.
I am.
What do you have for us tonight?
I'm going to read from my book that releases tomorrow. It's called Worth the Vow. So another pretty cover.
That cover is gorgeous.
Very nice.
It's this my designer, man. I just tell her, I give her the picture. And then she just works her magic. So it's pretty cool. So this is a small town, single dad nanny, grumpy sunshine, marriage of convenience book.
Love it.
So I'm starting in the middle. So I'm going to explain very quickly. This is after they are married. They get married because Kate needs medical insurance. She suffers from PCOS and endometriosis. And when she is nannying, he finds her multiple times kind of curled up in a ball and says, I have to help her. I've got to get, and he knows she won't take money. So he says, we can get married. And he actually tells her that they're going to get married and then just says, end of discussion, and walks out of the room. So there's a little bit of a control factor at play here as well. So the scene I'm going to read is they have an argument and she escapes a few hours away to visit her half brother. And then while she's there, she decides to go visit her father, who is in prison, but it doesn't go well. And her half brother ends up calling her husband, who they are cousins. This is not a taboo relationship. I'm going to try to explain it.
No, I'm already trying to figure that out in my head.
So Dominic and Matt, the brother, are cousins on their mother's side. Matt and Kate share a father. So Dominic and Kate are not related at all.
Gotcha.
So this scene starts.
That would have been a whole different trope.
I know. That's what they're like. You're kind of taboo. And I'm like, not exactly. But so this starts where Dominic is at home trying to figure out like how to do anything with his time because nobody's there.
All right. We will see you after.
Okay. I'll admit I'm a control freak. I know it. I've got anxiety issues up the wazoo that none of my family know about. In fact, not even my lovely wife knows I'm currently in therapy for anxiety. I'm attempting to handle things without medication, but the anxiety keeps getting worse. My therapist says he wants me to try a medication soon. I hate feeling out of control. Knowing I can't control my own brain is the worst. Keeping busy is the quickest way for me to calm my anxiety. It's why I work as much as possible. But since it's Saturday, my options are pretty limited, which is why I'm cleaning the window wells in my basement. It's probably good that I do this when Kate isn't here anyway. I try to clean out the window wells once a year. Wind constantly blows trash and lawn debris into them, and it adds up incredibly fast. Now I can stand and breathe in her perfume, let it permeate my veins, and allow myself to think about her in ways I absolutely should not. Ways that would complicate an already complicated situation, which would most likely end with one of us being hurt. I'm not gloating when I say it's likely to be Kate. My wife wears her heart on her sleeve. She sees the best in everyone. She'd think any sexual connection we have could lead to more. Yeah, I told Alex, my brother, I thought I wanted a relationship with Kate. But with each passing hour, I'm allowing doubt to creep back into my mind. My main priority has to be my kids. But I have no intention of putting myself in another relationship where my children could be hurt. I don't care about my own heart. I'll survive no matter what. But my kids don't deserve to have another woman break them. Aspen would probably bounce back. She's incredibly strong-willed. Carter would inevitably escape into his own world until he was ready to talk about it. But Sienna, my oldest daughter, would be devastated. Who am I kidding? Whenever this ends, however this ends, people are going to get hurt. Typically, I don't make rash decisions. I'm detail-oriented, and I think everything through. Ever hear the expression measure twice and cut once? I'm more of a measure 5 times kind of guy. But did I think it through when I told Kate we would get married? Nope. Not one iota of thought given. I jumped in, feet first, consequences be darned. Now my wife has left the county, is ignoring all of my messages, and I'm wondering what made her bolt. Yeah, I said some hurtful things, but she's never left before. Why didn't she fight back? Using this as a perfect opportunity to enter Kate's space with a valid reason, I step into her room and look around. Her bed is unmade, which would normally bug me incessantly, but hers looks welcoming, lived in, incredibly comfortable. My eyes close on their own as I imagine what it would be like to wake up next to Kate, my arms around her, or her head on my chest. Shoot. Throwing open the window, I pop the screen out and begin removing all the debris that accumulated all winter. It's been a few years since I've checked the drains in the window wells, and I'm glad I did because one of the other drains was completely clogged. When I find this one, I determine it is also clogged. As I'm walking into the attached bathroom, determined to not sniff any of Kate's bath products like a psychopath, I go to fill up a glass of water so I can clear the clog in the drain. When my phone jars with a loud ring, I hope you guys can't hear the dog barking. I dropped the glass and scrambled to grab my phone from my pocket. I hope it's Kate. I hope she's finally ready to talk, although I don't have a dang clue what I'm going to say. It's odd how disappointed I am when I see it's Matt calling, but a weird premonition overcomes me. A tingling starts in my spine as I answer the call. He wouldn't call me unless absolutely necessary. What happened? I demand. Shoot, he mutters. I knew if I called you, you'd figure something was wrong. Tell me what's going on, Matt. He sighs. I told her not to do this, Dom. Really, I told her not to give him one more second of her time. Who? Whoever hurt her, I'll kill him. Our dad. Uncle Chris? I asked in disbelief. Isn't he in prison? Yeah, he's down in Canyon City. He's been reaching out to her more often than I realized. She said something in passing about going to see him, but I thought I talked her out of it. How did she get down there then? She told me she was running to the pharmacy, something about pain meds for cramps. I figured she couldn't be lying about that. And maybe she didn't lie about it, man, but it was a twofer, and she decided to go see him anyway. Okay, I said slowly, confusion evident in my tone. I'm not sure why you're calling me about this. If you think she'll listen to me, you've got another thing coming. If anything, Catherine will do the exact opposite of what I ask. She called me sobbing. I couldn't make out everything she said, but I got the gist of it. Dad was horrible to her. I begged her to come back, but she said she was fine. She's not fine, Dom. I know her, and she's spiraling. Now she won't answer any of our calls. I'm running up the basement stairs before Matt finishes his explanation. I can be down to Canyon City in less than 3 hours. Any idea where she might be? Ask Sienna. What? She tracks Kate's location. I never thought to get her location, but I will now. I assume with how anti-technology you are, you don't have her location. You are correct. I won't add how I'm cursing myself right now about that fact. I know she follows me, but I don't follow her. That ends now. I can meet you down there, or you can pick me up on the way, Matt offers. I think it's best if I go alone. Are you sure that's a good idea? He asks uncertainly. I assure you, I do actually know some things about my wife that you don't, I snap. Matt snickers. I really would love to see you grovel, though. I sigh. I fully intend to grovel, but I don't think this moment is when I'll do it. Something tells me Catherine needs me to listen right now, and that's what I fully intend to do. Keep me updated and share your dang location with me so I can at least come get you if she murders you on the side of the road, he orders. I'll think about it. Dang it, Dom, this is my sis. I end the call before he can go, Officer Turner on me. It wouldn't be the first time he's tried to pull the police card on me, and it probably won't be the last. Running out to my car, I call my mom, who has my children for the day. Generally, I spend all day Saturday with my kids, but today my mom planned to take them to a performance at the senior center in town. She suggested I get some things done around the house, which I now believe was actually her telling me to find Kate. Dominic, I've mirrored their location with my map app, and she's at a hotel on the main state highway going through Canyon City. I'll send you the address. Text me when you get her, okay? I need to know when you're both safe, my mom says fretfully. I will, Mom. You all right to keep the kids tonight? Of course. You know I never turn down a movie night with my grandchildren. After saying goodbye, I send Matt my location and set off. A little over 4 hours later, I arrive in Canyon City. After confirming with my mom that Kate's location hasn't changed, I find her car at a rundown motel on the main highway through town. I grimace thinking of how down she must feel to get a room here, but realize she probably chose it because of price. Going into the office, I shouldn't be surprised when the clerk behind the desk gives me her room number with no issue. I said I was her husband, and the kids spouted off the number, a little scary in my opinion. I find her room number directly by her car. I hate motels like this with exterior entrances to rooms. Anyone could try to look in the window or kick down the door. Knowing my wife is here all alone sends my anxiety into overdrive. I knock quietly on the door, but Kate doesn't open it. I knock louder, placing my ear to the door, and hear nothing. Dominic? Whirling around, I find Kate in the middle of the parking lot, a bag of fast food in her hand, eyes bloodshot and face puffy, but in one piece, and I finally let out a relieved exhale. What are you doing here? She stammers. I would think it was pretty evident, but apparently she needs me to break it down for her. I came for my wife. Kate gasps, a shuddering sound that seems to grow in sound as she throws a hand up to cover her mouth. I expect a verbal beatdown, a time where she will lambaste me with all the reasons why she doesn't need me in any way. What I don't expect is for her to burst into tears, drop her food, and jump into my arms. I grunt as her body hits mine, my arms automatically tightening around her and lifting her up. Kate's legs wrap around my waist as sobs rack her body. I bend down to grab her bag of food, knowing it would have been incredibly difficult for her to spend any money on fast food, then hug her tighter against me. Where's the key to your room, baby? I ask quietly, the term of endearment flowing from my mouth easily. Either Kate doesn't hear it or she doesn't care. She lifts an arm from around my neck, showing me the key. Grabbing it from her, I carefully maneuver opening the door. After closing it, I drop the food on the table, then sit on the bed with Kate still wrapped around me. I don't speak. Kate doesn't need that from me right now. I meant when I said to Matt, I'm here to listen, but I'll grovel if she lets me. Slowly rubbing her spine, up and down, I wait until she's ready to talk. And again, Kate chooses to throw my expectations out the window when she falls asleep with her head on my shoulder and her nose buried against my neck. Scooting back, I carefully unwrap Kate's legs from my waist and rest against the headboard. Kate burrows even closer against me, one hand wrapping part of my shirt around her fingers as if she's scared I might leave while she's asleep. I find myself resting my hand against hers, reveling in the scent of her shampoo. I'm acutely aware of how peaceful it feels to have Kate in my arms, and I'm surprised it doesn't upset me. Alex was right. I like my wife. And I'm beginning to wonder if this fake marriage has ever been fake to me at all.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
I love that moment when they start to, realize, yeah. It started off fake, but now he's got some feelings.
I know. Oh, the feelings.
Mm-hmm. By the way, we could hear your dog,
Yeah.
but I'm wondering, is that the puppy that you talk about in your bio?
Yes, she's a nut job. She's a golden retriever, and she's only 6 months old, and she apparently felt that she needed to be in here with me. So I'm pretty sure she was just barking right there.
I mean, it wasn't obnoxious or loud or anything like that. But yeah, but we could definitely hear the puppy in the background. So yeah,
Yes,
I'm a sucker for puppies. So.
She's cute, but she's obnoxious.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how they get you, right?
We also have 5 pets. We also have 5 pets. So not as many kids, but 5 pets.
Uh-huh. And sometimes they're even bigger troublemakers than the kids.
Mm-hmm.
At least in
That's
my
true.
house, that is what happens.
Children are mostly potty trained, at least, so that's nice.
Well, thanks for sharing. That sounds your book sounds absolutely delightful.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
you gotta love a man who goes after his wife, even though she doesn't necessarily think she wants to be his wife or feel or feels like his real life. So no, I'm glad that you read that scene. Yeah.
All right, let's do one more question. If you could have one of your books turned into a movie, which one would you pick?
Jennifer, you want to go first?
Okay. I would pick this book because it's the first in my series, Worth the Risk. It is a hockey book, and I just really love how she's a little Southern belle, and she's kind of always lived life with whatever her parents have told her to do. And so watching her kind of grow and branch out and get confident, I would love to see that on the big screen.
Mm-hmm. Good answer.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Breanna?
Honestly, I would probably love to see the one that I read from turned into a movie. As I was editing it way back last year around the same time, I could hear the characters in my head. Like I could hear the tone of voice, the timbre, all of that stuff. And it has some cameos from some of my favorite characters from the series. Mm-hmm. It is an interconnected, it's connected to the series. It's a spinoff of my Rockstar series. Mm-hmm. So Michaela is his younger sister, and she marries his best friend.
Okay.
And so you get to see them, and you get to see the cute little nephew who calls this big burly ex-military guy Uncow. Mm-hmm. And I can in my head I can watch it play out the whole time. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And who would you want to be the stars? Who would you want to play your hero and heroine? Have you given that any thought?
I have. So there is a guy who, I think it's Alan. What the heck is his last name? I think he plays the new Reacher. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I knew who you were talking about as soon as you said Alan. I'm like, yep.
Yeah, I don't know very many hot Allens that have been on.
Yeah. And then the heroine is Evie, and her name is escaping me right now, but she was in Last Man Standing. She was the middle daughter, she was the youngest daughter. And then her name on that show is actually Evie as well. And she was in Vampire Diary, or not Vampire Diaries, the Vampire Academy, and she played Rose Hathaway. What the heck is her name?
I don't know.
My brain is escaping me, but like in my mind, she is the perfect Evie.
Okay. How about you, Jennifer?
I'm also going to screw up names. Who is the main star of It Ends With Us, the movie? The dark-haired guy that has distanced himself from everything.
Justin? Is it
Justin Baldoni?
Baldoni? Yes. Mm-hmm. I think he would actually be a perfect, because this is an Italian family. My whole series is Italian, and so I think he would be pretty perfect for this guy. His name is Luca. And for the girl, I kind of see somebody like Amanda Seyfried, or I'm trying to think of who else, like Rachel McAdams when she was blonde. So those kinds of characters that are super sweet, but then kind of come into their own. throughout time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. Love it. Any other questions, Dawn?
One more.
Is there one more quick one we can squeeze in?
Yep. Do you have a character Bible or family trees?
I don't.
I want one.
My team laughs at me because I mess stuff up all the time with this, and they're like, "Why don't you have this written down?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but this is very, on brand for me that I'm gonna mess it up because I don't have it written down." So yes, I need one, but it's very low on the priority scale.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have one either, Breanna?
No, I like Jennifer. I would love it because it would probably make my life much easier, especially when I go back to these rock stars here in the not so distant future. But yeah, instead I've just got a whole bunch of notes on my phone. If I like write something down or if somebody asks me a question, I've got it. Trying to figure out math for kids' ages. It took 3 of us trying to figure this out. I'm like, do not math. So it was myself, Claire Hastings, and Lena Lane, and we were like a little trio. And I'm like, okay, if they were born in this age and this person was this age, it looked like an algebraic equation by the time we got done. But I at least sort of know ages at one point in time.
I always tell everybody I do words, not math.
Yes.
Accurate. I accidentally gave a character an 18-month pregnancy. So I quickly added, like, I was like, oh, well, that baby was born off page, I just saw, I'm like, oh my gosh. And my husband jokes, he's like, what, is this an elephant? I'm like, no, it's just a person.
Say,
so sorry.
I felt like I was pregnant for 18 months when I was pregnant. So I was not a happy pregnant person. So yeah, it felt like 18 months.
Yeah, the pregnancy math and the baby math is rough.
Oh, that's funny. I think that's a new one. I haven't heard that one before. An 18-month pregnancy. But...
Yeah, I'm creative. I don't need to do the math. So somebody can correct me, and so I'm like, okay, team, here's the beta. Tell me where I did this wrong, and they'll be like, this. Okay.
I'm just glad I have editors to catch that stuff.
So what you could do is see, I mean, if you have, a reader who's been with you from the start and wants to go through and create a series Bible for you, sometimes I think they're much better at it than we are, because they catch a lot of things that I just I won't ever need to know that, and I just don't write it down. And then later I'm like, what was that one thing I said I'd never need to know? Because now I need to know it, and I need to know it now.
Yep.
But well, thank you. I think we are out of time for tonight. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. We do have a giveaway up on the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page that we'll leave up for over the weekend to give everybody a chance to get in on that. We already covered where you hang out the most, but where is the best place for people to find out more about you? Breanna, you want to tell us where the best place is for people to catch up on the latest that's going on with you?
So probably the best place to find me is newsletter. You will always have the most recent information there. And if you sign up, you get a free short story. So 2 for the price of 1.
All right. And we have a link for that. I think that was your how to enter into your giveaway. So we've got a link for that on our page. And Jennifer, how about you?
I would say my reader group on Facebook is probably the best because I do kind of give behind the scenes information or extra scenes that I've written and just general shenanigans there. My team talks often about, they joke that I derail things a lot. So my my reader group can be nuts. So, and my reader group is Jennifer J. Williams Forever Spicy reader group, if anybody wants to search there, because my giveaway was to follow me on Instagram.
All right. Great. Well, thanks again for being with us. Dawn, do you have anything else?
That's it for me.
All right. So we will see you next time. We will be back. Gosh, it'll be September. I think it's September 12th. Is that the date? Second Thursday in September, I think. No, I threw that out there. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, don't ask me.
Earlier.
Yeah.
So,
all
so we'll see you on September 12th if you'd like to come back and join us for that. And otherwise, I hope everybody, gosh, has a really good start to fall. Since summer, as much as we're trying to hang on to it's fading. So,
Yeah.
all right, we'll see you next time. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next month.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.